Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Slcmof and I'm back again with another video, and in this one I want to talk about Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Captain America Civil War, and I'm seeing Captain America Civil War, by the way, for the first time tomorrow. I'm very, very excited to do so, and I've seen Batman v Superman numerous times, 6 times to be exact, not that anyone's counting or anything, but I do believe it was Grace Randolph that was on Twitter and on YouTube, and I'm a big fan of her channel Beyond the Trailer. I watch it quite frequently, and I believe it was her. I'm not up to date, and I didn't watch the video that she said it in, but apparently she was talking about how we should not compare Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War. They should not be in context with one another, and specifically in the context of we should not use Captain America Civil War, or reviewers should not use Captain America Civil War as a platform to further bash Batman v Superman more than they already have. Because I noticed that with a lot of the reviews as well, and just kind of reading through them, a lot of them were complimenting Captain America Civil War, whilst at the same time kind of throwing fire at Batman v Superman, and to a degree that is fair, but to another degree, if that is indeed what Grace Randolph is asserting, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna fair praise her. I just know it's an issue in it, and I've already debated quite a few people about it on Twitter, actually, as to whether or not we should put these films in conversation with one another. And most of the people that I've seen have said that we should not compare these two films because they are entirely different in a variety of ways. They're different in scale, and some people would assert, at least the people I was arguing with on Twitter, said that they are different in quality. In other words, Batman v Superman is not good enough to be compared to Captain America Civil War. Now, I will just say straight away, I think that the notion that Batman v Superman isn't good enough to compare to any other movie is kind of ridiculous, because we compare movies all the time, and furthermore, Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War are similar in more ways in which they are different. If you think about the basic premise of both of these movies, what really is it? Well, basically, it's mankind, and they are turning against the metahumans, turning against the aliens, and saying that you all need to be put in check. Whether it is the United States government and Senator Finch saying that we need to maybe place some regulations on Superman, or Batman saying that we need to completely destroy Superman, or whether or not it's the government and the MCU that is saying that we need to limit the power of the Avengers and put them in check. So basically, both movies have the same sort of premise, limiting the power of aliens, limiting the power of the metahumans. Although I have not seen Captain America Civil War, I will just tell you straight away, probably my guess is that one of the biggest differences between them is that there's going to be a lot more action in Captain America Civil War, which is something that maybe the DC movies are going to want to strive for, because it seems that audiences don't tend to gravitate towards movies that have, dialogue and narrative, more so, no action or narrative told through the action, at least kind of what I've noticed. At least, most of the Avengers movies, actually both of them, like the last 40 minutes is just like straight up action, basically. And then, Winter Soldier is the same sort of thing. The third act of the movie is just all action, and I'm assuming that Captain America Civil War is going to have like a ton of action in it, because that's just kind of how the MCU movies are. And Grace Randolph, even in a video I was watching today, she explained the story of where, I don't remember who it was or what the details, but, the idea that somebody is in the airport, they're watching a movie, and in that, or a superhero movie, and in that superhero movie, the person watching it, sitting and waiting for their flight, is skipping through all the dialogue parts and literally just skipping to the action scenes. And, I think that when I was probably like 11 years old and I saw The Dark Knight for the first time, that was probably me, not even gonna lie. It's like, mob talk, who cares? Just get to Batman beating people up, you know what I mean? But I think the idea that these movies cannot be compared is ridiculous, because as I said, they're similar in more ways in which they are different, and we compare, even if they were, let's say, so drastically different. Why can we not compare them? We compare movies all the time, and if you see a movie back to back, one weekend you see, let's say, Transformers, then the weekend after that you see a horror film. Is it not innate that somebody asks you and say, what did you think about both of these movies? And you compare them to one another. You say, well, I really like this in Transformers, I really like this in the horror movie, and you are just kind of cognitively and incidentally comparing the two experiences in those films. So it is almost in nature, innately, that we compare two movies that are so similar in premise, such as Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War, because they really are, in terms of premise, they're the same thing. Like, it's humanity rebelling against aliens and the metahumans. That's the premise for both of them, and of course they deviate from there. Batman v Superman, for example, is essentially a story of Superman transforming, not literally of course, but figuratively, from an alien to a human, particularly in the minds of mankind. They no longer see him as this foreign threat, because even before the Trinity forms, remember, Superman says that being He's from my world. My world at that point was Krypton. But then before he sacrifices himself, before he martyrs himself for mankind, a species, by the way, that does not like him very much, he did it anyway. And in doing so, before he goes to martyr himself for mankind, he says, "This is my world." At that point, he has shifted, figuratively, again, not literally, from an alien to a human. So that is just one of many examples of Batman v Superman being something much deeper than just a clash of personalities in Batman v Superman, because again, the movie called Batman v Superman literally has Batman and Superman fight for 6 minutes. So you would think that other people would be able to pick up on the fact that there's a lot more going on in the movie besides Batman and Superman fighting, but judging by, I think, some of the critics and even just fan response, that people maybe didn't pick up on some of the other things going on in the movie, but that's just a side note for another day. So here's what I'll just say on a final note. Batman v Superman is my favorite comic book movie of all time. So when I see Captain America Civil War, I will either like it more than Batman v Superman, or I will like it less. Batman v Superman is my favorite comic book movie of all time, so therefore, if I like Captain America Civil War more than Batman v Superman, that deductively, I would presume, will then be my favorite comic book movie of all time. If I like it less than Batman v Superman, then it will not be my favorite comic book movie of all time. It might be my worst if it turns out to be terrible, but judging by the reviews, that's not going to be the case. But it's number 2 or 3 or lower. It doesn't matter. The point is, it is innate. It will happen, and I will tweet about it, and I will compare which one I liked more. In fact, that will probably be my second tweet. After I liked it, I didn't like it, my second tweet will be, it was better than Batman v Superman. It was not better than Batman v Superman. That is kind of how it goes, and if you can't get over that, there's a certain level of fanboyism, I think, behind it. And as somebody that loved Batman v Superman, I had to deal with reviewers shitting on the movie and fans shitting on the movie and friends shitting on the movie, literally feeling like I'm the only one that liked it, to the point in which I put out a tweet just like, does anybody like this movie? And then a lot of people favored it, so they did. Okay, but anyway, so the point is, I'm okay with other people not sharing my opinion and people shitting on a movie that I don't like, but if I don't like Civil War, then I'm just going to let you know about it, and the notion that we cannot compare them because somebody's feelings might get hurt or whatever, there's a layer of fanboyism, I think, behind it, of people wanting to defend their own property or their own title or whatever, and I think it's no secret by now that if I've not explicitly stated on this channel before, which I've not, I lean a little bit more to the DC side, even though I love Marvel, of course. But, right now, that's just kind of where I lean and have the last probably 5 or so years. But there has to come a point where we can kind of elevate past the fanboy war and just talk about these movies individually. And in talking about them individually, you can compare them, because when we talk about any other random movie, we compare them to other movies. But with superhero movies, for whatever reason, there's a certain stigma, or if you like one more than another, you're instantly a fanboy. And my honest opinion is that there's nothing wrong with being a fanboy. We all have our own bias, and it's very obvious that some people are totally fanboying out when they saw Batman v Superman, myself included, and there's probably a strong likelihood that I will totally fanboy out when I see Captain America Civil War, so there's no problem with that. That's my argument. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Do you think that we should compare Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War? If you've seen both, or when you see both, come back and comment which one you enjoyed more. I'm curious to know. I will not read comments until tomorrow after I see the movie, of course. I've got 1 day left, so I'm not going to get spoiled, but I will read out all the comments on which you guys enjoyed more, because I think that it's okay to talk about both in context with one another. So, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. My name is Slcmof, and we'll see you in the next one.